In this session, I want to migrate from a pure relationship map to a rich picture. This particular rich picture was created from this relationship map. Though not redrawn, this map was exported and imported back into a new project. You can do an export by clicking here on export, and it will create an Excel file which contains the definition of the elements and the connections. Though um, I'll talk more about exports and imports later, because by doing that, what you get is just the elements and the connections. It's still floating and you have to reposition it all, but there's a lot more to exports and imports that I'll get to in another session. Though for once I imported it and repositioned it, I made a couple of changes. Well, I made one change to the structure, and that was to change the connections to have a connection size of 5. And as I said before, you can use Alt-S to look at the perspective for any model that you're looking at. So the only change here is connection size of 5. The images were added by when the model was in the initial form without images. If you click on an element, notice there's a little sort of an image in running ants around the up here in the top. If you click on it, it will go ahead and give you a dialog where you can go ahead and paste in a URL. And when you paste in the URL, that particular element then has an image attribute associated with it, and it will then resize to a size of 40, which you can see here. If you look at this, notice that this is, well, all of the elements are larger than they were in the relationship map, and there is now that little picture that I pasted in up here, and down here there's an attribute that says image, and here is the URL. And if you want to edit it, you can click here and replace it. So that the first time that you associate an image with an element, you can simply click here and paste it in. Though once you have, and notice that here there is no image attribute for this particular element. It's because it's never been used. But once you assign an image to any element in your model, every one of them will have an image attribute associated with it. So I just pasted all of these images in, and I talked in a previous lecture about you being at the mercy of everyone else on the internet if you simply use images that you find on the internet, and why I recommend that you use Cloudinary to manage your images so that they will be reliable in the future. When you open your model, some of the images won't be broken because they're coming from your Cloudinary account where you put the images to use them in your model. So, but back to Cloudinary, back to the rich picture itself. The idea of a rich picture is simply by adding images to various elements of the model. Hopefully it provides a better communication of the intent of the model to those who look at it, as opposed to simply looking at the labels that you have affixed to the various and sundry elements of the model. All of the relationships here are identical to what they were in the relationship map. I've simply gone ahead and added URLs for each one of the elements so that it's easier to get a sense of what the individual elements are just by looking at them. So the rich picture has the same advantages and disadvantages as a relationship map, and that is there are essentially no rules associated with how you create one, except you have to have 2 or more elements with some kind of relation between them. So that oftentimes you need to describe to other people what the conventions are that you used when you created your relationship map. They're usually quite fun to draw, because you go ahead and put the images in them that sort of gives a character to the map that doesn't exist if you're simply looking at a plain map of just elements and labels. It just it's much more attractive. So that's the essence of a rich picture, and we'll continue with additional types in the next video. Take care. Bye.